morning, folks. This morning's soap is brought to you by DeLuxe Shaving. This one here is called Rockers. It's fairly firm there inside the container there. Get about 4 ounces in the tub. Got the alum block complete with rubber band. Unscented witch hazel mentholated. Gonna follow up with fine platinum. Shaver of the day is a Schone. It's got a Treet Falcon blade in it. You can kind of see there. This one's golden color. It has just a little bit overhang, not much. That's what the blade exposure looks like. And yesterday's video, well, I mentioned about this is the petite. You can tell these look very much being the same. He mentioned that how you can tell the difference between version 1 and version 2 is that a version 2 will have a logo stamp on the bottom there, and this one here doesn't have one. Makes things kind of interesting. Anyhow, I thought I'd point that out. Got the lather whipped up here in the bowl with the 24mm DeLuxe Brush synthetic knot. Got it whipped up here pretty good. I got a lot of lather in there. There's more than enough for 2 shaves, if not 3. Whipped up pretty easy. Smells great. Already put a hot towel to the face, so I'll go ahead and get started with the Preshave soap here. As you can kind of tell, I wanted to shave with all these shavers in a row, and that show you the comparison in between them and how closely related they are. And they are good looking shavers. It is getting smaller. It's taken a while. Good chunk of Preshave soap will last you for a good moment. We're expecting some weather to come in. Seems like the weather forecasters don't seem to be too terribly sure what's going to happen. Talking about the heat indexes being up over 100 again. It is summertime. It's expected. I do prefer the cooler weather though. This is a really nice scent. When I got this soap, I got both of them. What I would consider the pair, the Rockers and the Mods. And at that point in time, when I had ordered this, it was on sale as a pair. And this was a while back when I did this. And always thought that this soap was the idea of the pair. To me, that's how I felt like they should have been purchased in my mind. Me being excuse me, looking at it from maybe a different point of view, in that in between the two, just to me just seemed to should be come together. When I was a kid, Rockers, in other words, the way I interpret that in I guess you might say my small world, this is pretty smooth shaving. I enjoyed playing the music in my car. And when I was a kid, my car, my first car, was a 1970 Plymouth Duster. Purple, white white vinyl top, black interior. And the way I kind of look at the two, the mods and rockers ought to go together. That's the reason why I ordered them together. I felt like that's, you know, they're a pair. Not very many people knew my name when I was in school, but they knew my car and they knew my music. It's kind of hard to miss a purple car with a white vinyl top. I guess you might say back then I had priorities. Car with music, that was a priority. Yeah, I guess you might say those days were rather simple. I really can't. I would say in between the two, because I mean, you know, to the naked eye they do look an awful lot alike. In other words, I don't notice any difference in between the two. But for me, my experience, and of course you have to take in consideration of what I'm used to shaving with, that this is a pretty smooth shaver for an open comb. Sometimes some people might interpret an open comb as being a fairly aggressive shaver. I don't feel like this one is. I think maybe a reason why I had my first shave with the fatigue, I think maybe it was the blade, maybe this reason why it felt the way that it did. Because right now, these are pretty smooth shaves. Really enjoyed the open comb. I've had pretty good luck with the Treet Falcons. In other words, they work well for me. I know they don't work well for everybody, but I thought I'd give them a try a while back, and I really haven't been disappointed in them either. I am kind of anxious now that I find out that there's a logo stamped on the bottom there, that getting one with the logo stamped on the bottom and see how much difference there is. Especially after watching that Maggot video. The blade exposure on the second version is somewhat smaller than the first, so it ought to be an even smoother shave. In other words, one that probably might lend itself to the more aggressive blade, if you will. That might be smoother. Like I said, a while back when I ordered the Artisan, got those 50 feather blades. I got a few feather blades I can use now. I don't have to use them so sparingly. Feather blades aren't exactly the cheapest. You usually have to pay a wee bit of money for 100 of them. I do stay within a budget, even though sometimes it may not seem like it. I just make sure that whatever dollar amount that I plan on spending, that's what I stay within. And sometimes it takes a good long while to get what I want. That's the reason why there's still a lot on the list. This brush here, I didn't look last night before I started this video. I know from time to time they'll have seconds, so you can get the brush at a much lower price. I really like that brush. Matter of fact, that brush was, I guess you might say, one of those brushes that I was really happy to get. Really like the way this one looks. job on the color combination, as well as the shape. If I didn't mention it, this comes from Canada. Yesterday, Daily Lather had mentioned that Shopify, which runs a number of wet shaving websites, and Etsy just happens to be one of them, that they were having some difficulties. Now last night when I checked it out, they seemed to be okay, but if you've been experiencing any trouble, according to him, they were having issues again. And I say again in that it's happened a while back. And from what he was saying, it wasn't anything that they can control. In other words, some people are trying to hack the system, break into the system, and was giving the site a hard time. So in other words, people would try to log into the site and on Etsy or whatever the case might be, and they would get something along the line saying that the shop wasn't available. Had that happen before, but you know, it's in this day and time, there's nothing surprising. I saw yesterday, that Douglas released the second version to the Starling single edge shaver, and sold out within about an hour. And the new one has different plates. One's got a safety bar, and one has a open comb. And there's every indication that he's going to come out with some more, but like he said, he was fairly certain that they would sell out pretty quick. And they did. And he mentioned about the fact that those plates and whatnot are machined out of aluminum. Yeah, if I remember right, it was aluminum. At any rate, they're machined. Different colors too. What was it, green and purple for the plates? And you were able to order the shaver complete with the handle, or you could just order the base plates. And if you're wondering, I didn't order them. By the time I got home and got around to it, mowed lawn last night, in other words. Decided to take a peek at it, and it's already sold out. I kind of figured it would sell out, but not within an hour. that part there I didn't quite anticipate. I wanted to take a look at it and see what kind of wording he gave along with these plates. In other words, what to expect. Whether we're expecting mild shavers, aggressive, or whatever the case might be. And part of that has to do with, the individual, what you're used to. And he does mention that too, that there's a learning curve for those that are not used to shaving with a single edge shaver. And I do know the first one, for me, I noticed that if you didn't keep it flat on your face, and if you had to get it tilted one side or the other, it seemed like either it was the edge of the blade. I was thinking it was the edge of the blade. It might have been the edge of the plate that would catch your skin and would scratch you. And for me, from time to time, I was having that sort of issue. Not something I wasn't used to, like if you just shaved with a Gem or Never Ready or a Star. You know what I'm trying to say. In other words, that rounded edge. So in other words, whether it was the plate or versus the blade, it kind of felt like the stop caps, if they came up just a tad bit, might help with that sort of thing. But I wasn't, the stop hooks, just wasn't real sure what it was exactly for sure. Figuring if the stop hooks came up a little bit higher to help cover the edge of the blade, that would eliminate that being the issue. And if you rounded the corners just a tad bit, maybe that might help too. But you know, I don't know. I was never able to really put my finger on reason why. If you got just tilted one side or the other, in other words, got a cattywampus, you'd end up scratches. And it took me a few tries to figure out what all was going on with the shave, reason why I was having such an issue. As well as it seemed like to me the base plate, the cap didn't want to seat just right. If you put a little spacer in the back end, it brought the front end or the nose of the cap down to help keep that blade in place, where it's pointing down like I would expected it to be. This is great smelling stuff. Smells wonderful. This is a great shave. Only had a little bit of stinging down here, just a little bit. Like I said, so far both these blades seem to work all right in the shaver. Can't complain. Smooth shave. I would have to say this is not such an efficient shaver that I couldn't shave with it on a daily basis, because in other words, by the time I got up this morning, I had enough whiskers, you know, to work with. Could shave with this on a daily basis. Tomorrow I'll be shaving with another Schone, and it will look an awful lot like this head here, but the handle will be different in the way of this design, but it still will be hollow just like this one here. You can kind of see the similarities. They look very much the same. But that's okay, because I was really happy to get this one in gold, because over time that was the one that I was really hoping to get when I did decide to do that, was to get the gold color one, because it's just a good looking shaver. Just really nice. If you haven't seen the Maggard video, he does a really good job talking about the very different aspects of this shaver. Not necessarily this one, but the fatigue, which is very close to being the same thing. That's what the base plate looks like. And there's the Treet Falcon there. It did really well. I guess you might say if you ever try something like this, you might, you know, buy a pack or whatever the case, or two. However many you think you need to give it a try. And whatever your favorite shaver is, you might be surprised. This one worked out pretty well. That's what it looks like on the underside there. Had a great shave. Can't complain a bit. Enjoyed it. I don't see any nicks, cuts, weepers, anything of the sort. Like I say, I just had the stinging down here, which is a little odd. Usually I get it on this side. So I don't know if I got to talking and put too much pressure or what. At any rate, I had a really nice shave. Like I say, tomorrow I'll be shaving with the next Schone that I have. You can you'll see the comparison in between the two. I had a great shave. Hope everybody's doing well, and stay safe, and smooth shaves to you.